Okay, let's just do a little short video here on uh, collards or greens, your bigger greens. Now, when you have a bigger green, and a lot of times, especially when they get further in the season, and I talk about these, if they start stringing, like you can see this is stringing off right here. Once they get like that, this is not really something that's tender that you want to eat. If you have to, or you really like chewing stuff, that's fine. But what I do is, it just takes a second here. Just take and cut down there. And this little piece up here is not going to be tough. Once we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the sink here. And we'll run some water, and we'll put about a half cup to a cup of white vinegar in here. That way, if there's any bugs that we didn't see or anything on there, it'll go ahead and release them, clean them, and then we'll show you we're going to cut them up. Once these are in here and you have some water and a cup of vinegar, let them set for 5 minutes. That'll give time for everything, if there is something on there, to release. It's really good in taking and getting rid of aphids and stuff, because a lot of times you can't help but get them. You know, you end up with little holes and stuff. Now, I wouldn't carry these to the market, but there's nothing wrong with eating these. Occasionally I might end up with one in the batch that goes to the market, but as far as when we're putting some of these up, or we're just cooking them for a meal, that's not going to hurt them. I'd much rather deal with getting a few bugs off than spraying it with some kind of chemicals. Done the soaking, washed them, and then we washed them again. Now what we're going to do is cut them up, but we're going to also have some leek scapes. Now, whether it be onion scapes, leek scapes, garlic scapes, any kind of scapes, they're excellent to cook with. We're going to chop some of these up and put them with the collard greens. And the thing about scapes, if you don't know what the scape is, it is the seed top from like your onions, garlics, leek, and all those. But the thing about them is they are sweet compared to, now if you're growing a sweet onion, it's sweet anyway. But your scapes end up being real sweet on your garlic or your leek or even your onions, because they're going to have that nectar up there to attract those bees, so they'll pollinate it. And so they really make a good addition to that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish cutting these up, and then I'm going to cut up those greens that we have. Okay, I've cut my leek up. We use some olive oil in here, and I use about a teaspoon of chicken broth or chicken bouillon, give it a little bit of extra flavor. Now I cut these up, and you can see how I've cut these, as far as I've got them where they're small enough that you won't end up with big leaves trying to get them, or have to cut them up when you put them on your plate. Now I'll cut the rest of these up, and then we're going to kind of stir fry these or cook them down. Alright, now that they're all in here, and greens cook down quite a bit, so if you've got a big family, you'll want a big amount. Usually one bundle of greens, like I sell at the market, is enough for a couple of people. That if they really like greens, they might want a few more than that, but it doesn't take long for these to cook down. Now the other thing I want to stress when you're cooking these is that the longer you cook your food, the more nutrition it gets removed from it. And you actually have to have some real good understanding about food. It's always best the closer to its natural state as possible. So if you're going to cook your collard greens down to where they're really soft, you're going to really change the nutrition level. What I want to say too is this same method, this works for all of your greens, whether it be turnip greens, mustard greens, dinosaur kale, regular kale. That your turnip greens, mustard greens, and your curly leaf kale and stuff like that, they don't take as long to cook to really get soft, so you got to watch them a little bit more. But it just takes a few minutes. These are almost done. They're nice and flexible. But anyway, I hope this helps you as far as to understand greens if you're not familiar with them, how to cook them, the flavor, and then like I say, you'll want to salt these to taste. You can add other seasonings too if you want a little bit different flavor. And greens are always better in cool weather. So those of you up north that always wonder what you can grow and you're not used to that in your area, you might try growing some. I wouldn't say go taste them in the supermarket and then say you want them, because if you're getting these out of season and they're being grown in warm weather, they're going to be more bitter. They're not going to be near as sweet. Your brassicas get really sweet with cold weather. I like them down here in the south to grow them really through the winter, because they're really cold hardy. They've taken temperatures down to 22 degrees, and they come out fine. Occasionally you might have a couple of damaged leaves, but it doesn't kill your plant, so it'll just continue to grow. But anyway, if you want to see more of these, as always, hit that subscribe, hit the bell button so you'll be notified, give it a thumbs up, and share this video. Happy gardening.